Hello, Danielle Beckman here. We are back for a little Convos with Brooklyn Quarter, presented by Blackmagic Design. But we're just gonna, I'm here with my co-host and actually co-partner in life, Timothy Reese. Actual husband, Timothy Reese. And we just wanted to say like a little thank you to all of our partners and sponsors and people who are helping this stream happen. Cinematography for Actors, whoop whoop. Also, we want to shout out League of Filmmakers.
Yeah.
And actually, League of Filmmakers is having a super, super fun arcade party tonight in the Gaslamp District. And so if you see us around the con today, come get a friendship bracelet.
Yep.
And that'll get you into the party.
And also a chance at raffles, which is really fun.
Super fun giveaways. Thank you to Blackmagic and Hollyland. And who else we got? We got the dogs.
Sound dogs, yeah.
I knew there was a dog. The sound dogs. Yeah. So cool. So that's all happening tonight. And but we have a couple other super exciting announcements. Do you want to recap Hex Harmonics from last night?
Yeah, so currently directing the show actually right now behind Penelope 2 is Bill Crow, who was the host of Hex Harmonics, the punk and metal fusion of fashion and nerddom panel that was yesterday, and it was super fun. It was especially fun because you have such a cavalcade of personalities between a pirate rocker, two RPG writers, as well as my brain just drew voiceover. Yeah, my brain just drew a complete blank with Sean Ryan Peterson. And so it was just a really fun experience to see. Well, first of all, the Hex Harmonics, which is going to be coming out soon on Brooklyn Quarter as a podcast. This is really the first in the wild experience of that show. And there's a few episodes in the can. It's coming out soon, so I'm just really excited.
Yes, and then tomorrow, we have my panel in the Convention Center. It's in room 26AB at 5:30. And sadly, we lost one of our panelists. She couldn't make it due to illness, and we hope that she gets much better soon. But her slot is actually going to be taken by Tiny Chef.
Yeah.
Tiny Chef, the Instagram sensation, the puppet everyone loves, is the creator, Rachel Larson, is going to be on Women in Entertainment. So that's kind of the fun, big announcement. We'll be putting more about that on social media, but the panel is really going to be about what it looks like to be a woman in the entertainment industry across many different facets. So we'll have multi-hyphenate filmmakers, indie filmmakers, people in television, people in puppetry, people creating commercial content, and people in film as well. Just I don't know, it's going to be really uplifting. It's going to be very inspiring. And also we'll be talking about how the strikes were happening last year and what it looks like this year. And, the importance of like standing in solidarity with your unions.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a really fun one. Ashley Gianni, who was on the earlier spot today, she's one of the panelists. And so, yeah, I think that's kind of it, because we're going to get back to you really soon with another segment. But we just wanted to give you a quick little fun update. Anything from you, Timothy?
Oh yeah, I want to mention, so for those who, because like there are folks watching right now who've never been to Comic-Con, right? And so one of the things, right, whenever you come to Comic-Con, a recommendation, like a ritual that I always like to do is to go to Sweet Things, where you can get Dole Whip.
Oh,
usually only available
one.
at Disneyland or Disney World. It's basically pineapple soft serve. My goodness gracious. Go to Sweet Things and get Dole Whip. They're amazing. So yeah, that's my ritual. That's my ritual right now. Because I've been meaning to ask people like.
Okay, high five to that.
High five. Yeah, get some Dole Whip. That was terrible. High five. One more time.
Oh, one more.
Elbows. Yeah.
Oh, we got it. It's the signature. Okay, well that's it. We will be back shortly.
Yeah.
Stay with us, and we'll see you soon. Yay!
And Ricardo's here.
Hey. Awesome. Welcome back to Comic Convos, presented by Blackmagic Design. If you're just joining us, I'm one of your hosts, Timothy Reist of Brooklyn Quarter, and we're excited to be partnering with the League of Filmmakers and Cinematography for Actors to bring you this live stream directly from the Gaslamp District in downtown San Diego. There's contention over whether it's the Gaslamp District or Gaslamp Quarter, because the sign says Quarter, and look, we're Brooklyn Quarter, and that's fun, but then sandiego.org calls it the District. We've been back and forth on this, so stay with us. Now we have with us Ricardo Martinez. Ricardo is a filmmaker, comic book writer, editor, and colorist. He's cut and finished content for clients like Disney, Hulu, and HBO Max, and is on the board of Unidos, the NBC Universal Latino Employee Resource Group. He's the creator of Tales from the Border comic series and co-founder of Latin horror writers group, The Latin Exorcists. Today, Ricardo is excited to announce that the Latin Exorcists are publishing their first comic book, The Halloween Club, by Gerardo Maravilla and Anastasia Longoria. Welcome to Comic Convos, Ricardo.
Thank you.
Yeah,
this is great. Thank
Pleasure
you.
to have you here.
We're like,
No. over the spiky plant.
No, this is great. This is actually, y'all can't see this, but this is a really swanky place. Thank you for having me in here, for sure.
The production design is like really good.
I dig it. Thank you for having me on the show.
Yeah, so first I want to talk to you about which Comic-Con is this for you? How long have you been coming to Comic-Con?
I was actually, this might be the 9th or 10th Comic-Con I've been at. I've been coming, so I skipped a little bit, but I think the first one I came here was 93.
Okay.
So then I went to college, so there was a little bit of time in between there when I was too cool for Comic-Con. But I started coming here in 93, and it wasn't even the whole Hall H wasn't a thing. I think it may have just been like one hall. It was amazing. Yeah, I loved it. We could meet people, talk to Robert Liefeld,
Yeah, would you say that I know now it's like a gigantic sort of contraption that's all over the city, but did you feel like the energy was still the same when you were coming back in 93? Because back then it would have been way more heavily comic books, right? It would have
it was totally different. In a good way, not in a bad way. There's still some of that energy now, especially lately, post-COVID. I think people are excited to come back and look at comic books. Wow, we were so lucky to be able to have that kind of thing again. I think in the early 90s, if I may speak that way, when I came here in 93, I was 11 or 12, and walking around, you could talk to comic book creators, you could see them, you could ask them questions, you could bug them, you could be like, did Deadpool really appear in this one? Something like that, and act like a weirdo. But I think what was great about that was you could also just be like, hey, here's my drawing, what do you think? Yeah. And that's what I did. Honestly, I would just walk around with a portfolio. I was kind of like a wannabe, that was my career path, was being a comic book artist.
Yeah.
And so I had a portfolio, walk around, got a lot of great insights, and almost pursued a career as an illustrator for comic books at that time. So the vibe back then was great because you could just grab anybody, you could see anybody. I probably, I remember seeing movie stars being here, kind of incognito.
Yeah.
So it was a wild experience, but it was a lot of fun too. I love it right now. I do think it's great. I think it's a little too many people sometimes. I prefer WonderCon, to be honest. Still love San Diego Comic-Con.
Saturday's a little intense.
Saturday is a little intense. The heat's, and it's a little too hard to get into some things. I think some of these companies make it a little bit more fun for the average person, personally.
Yeah.
But I still have a great time. I still love all those the events and the swag, and I wish I could talk to more comic book artists again. I know they can't do that because there's just way too many people. But if I could change anything, I would love to kind of have that small kind of interaction of just being like, yo, this thing rules. This drawing is great. I just want an autograph. I'm not going to sell it.
Yeah.
I want an autograph because I appreciate your work.
Yeah.
That kind of interaction I'd love to have more of.
It's cool whenever you go to the smaller vendors here, especially an artist alley, because I feel like if you just talk to someone for more than 30 seconds of a transaction, they will remember you the next year, which is a really cool experience whenever because Danielle, who's also hosting from Brooklyn Quarter, she went by a booth where there was a print that she wanted from last year that had sold out. And the artist remembered this experience, right? It's just cool. It's a cool experience that you can go down into such a gigantic hall and actually connect with people that quickly.
Absolutely.
Especially over art.
Yeah. Exactly. My daughter, I'm going to talk about my daughter for a hot second, but like my daughter, met James Tinian, and she was dressed, cosplay, like Something's Killing the Children. And like, and that was like a big moment, like that was a moment. I hope James, hey, James Tinian, if you want to send me a DM or something, I'd love to work with you one day. Like, I think, I hope he can see that, or people like our artists and writers can feel that when they're at the con and like a teenage kid walks up and is like, this book is so rad, that type of thing would be really cool. I mean, I know it was big for my kids and was big for me when talking to Rob Liefeld and being like, oh my God, or, seeing Jim Lee and be like, Jim Lee, it was a great, so that's, artists are people, right?
Yeah.
Writers are people. I remember I've been at a couple cons selling my comic books, and when people come up and buy them and they're actually moved by it, I mean, that's why you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that there's, especially like, I love the arc of you having come to cons to be an illustrator and now selling comic books as a writer. Like, I've read all these, right? You
Nice.
sent these to me just a few days ago, and I instantaneously read through all of Bloodstone in like one sitting. And
Nice.
I'll be honest, I thought Halloween Club, because this had the special sleeve, I thought that was issue 4.
Yes.
And so I opened
like
it
a
up.
side note. Yeah.
Oh my God, like what a cliffhanger. Because I was like, no, it's fine. I can read them all in one go. And like, so I'm like really looking forward to 4.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
It's a double-sized issue. Issue 4,
Awesome.
I've been working on issue 4. It got paused. So issue 4 was supposed to come out right away. All the artwork's been done. I've been lettering it. I like to letter my comic books myself. This is a weird kind of thing for people who are not into comic books. What you realize when you make a comic book is that the panels and the art is the story. So I like to get really in there and just kind of like put the little like sound effects and stuff like that. So issue 4 got delayed because we actually, we're in development to be a TV series right now.
Amazing.
And so what started right before the strike was like all these calls and meetings and all this great stuff. And then the strike happened and then we had to pause. But so there's been a kind of like, I've been delayed making issue 4, but it's almost done. It will be out soon. And it's only been delayed for good reasons, and we have Aaron Semmel is producing, who signed the exclusive. I got repped by John Pollock. Shout out John Pollock. And AMG. And then we have we're working with Eddie Olmos, Edward James Olmos.
Amazing.
I don't know what I can say about his role in it yet.
That's like a dream. That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, dude, until we get everything like locked in, I'm always like, with TV show, especially TV show in development, there's a lot of ways it could not work out. So like, realistically, it could happen, but we're excited right now. We got a really good team that's kind of building out on it, and I'm writing it, and that's what delayed me from issue 4 is I was writing the pilot, rewriting the pilot, writing and rewriting, making sure it's a really crazy wild ride. It's a little different than the comic too. Okay. So that's the fun thing, is that they've actually had really good insights on like how do we expand this as a format and a TV show, and it's all been exciting. Like they're like more gore, more monsters.
So I would love, like, if you could, like, would you tell everyone about like the pitch of Bloodstone?
Yeah, I mean, Bloodstone is essentially, it's Tales from the Crypt meets the X-Files set at the border, set in the world of all the crazy stuff. It's the idea of a secret organization that investigates unexplained cases along the periphery of the United States. So like, what happens when a Border Patrol officer sees something late at night, and can't explain it, like what happens when, somebody, when he sees a creature that he's never seen before, where do those files go? Yeah. We have thousands of men stationed, all around, including the Canadian border, and they see things they can't explain sometimes. And in
those lonely nights.
And those lonely nights. Yeah. And where do those reports go, and how do we deal with them? The suspense files that are there, and also the waterways. There's we have thousands of men that are on ships that are. It's an incredible world, and so. Yeah, I always wondered that, like, what would happen, but it also kind of imagines a world in which there's more than what we see, that's going on. That maybe these weird occurrences have a reason. Maybe there's like a balance. I don't know. This is kind of the bigger, broader strokes of the idea of the thing, and then who would go and investigate those?
Yeah, and I love the play on the thing I loved about reading it. I'm not going to give you any spoilers because it's like great. You should read it. It's really good. It's really good. Yeah,
dude, that's so nice. Thank you.
Like what I loved about it is that it plays the idea of villainy, right? Because the log line on the back is like, right, the monsters along the border and those who hunt them.
Mm-hmm.
And so reading it, it's the idea of like, well, who is the monster?
Mm-hmm.
And like, who is, and it's also what I love is that it takes you through these moments where people are stepping in and out of being monsters. Is you have this like kind of confusion over like someone's role until it gets revealed as the scene is stepping through. So it's just really fun. Like I got to the end and I really wanted to go to number 4. So, but then I got Halloween Club. It was great. Yeah.
It's so crazy and like rewarding in a lot of ways as a writer to like meet somebody. Like, I don't know if you're anybody out there watching, but like, it's crazy to hear stuff like this when you get an interview. I still never get over it because, you know, I write this thing in the middle of the night, you know, by myself or something, or, you know, I have this idea for a while and then you hear it and yeah, you're getting all the themes. Yeah. That's like, as a writer, that's like so rewarding when you hear somebody like, okay, they're getting it. It's like hidden, you know, like these things are making, like some of what I'm doing is working, hopefully, you know, like,
Oh God, we just had a dungeon master on for D&D, like D&D properties, and like it's the same idea of like hoping your players get it, right? You're like, the thread is not so thin, right, that they can still grab it. Yeah.
I mean, every great monster movie, every great monster story, you know, it makes us wonder who the monsters are. It makes us put ourselves in the place of the monster. You know, and like, there's another question that I like to explore, which is like, you know, what is justice? You know, what does that mean? How do you get there? Like, can we really get there? You know, like, you know, I don't want to give away too much stuff, but like, I also try to make it fun. I loved Tales from the Crypt as a kid. You know, that dark late night movie that you could watch, you know, that, you know, your dad's like, hey, your mom's asleep. You can watch this, you know, and we, you know, watch it, or you know, your friend goes, man, did you see that thing where the little baby was like attached to the arm, you know, like, and like that thing, that kind of schoolyard where we're not supposed to see this kind of thing.
Yeah.
I want to be one of those guys. I want to be one of those VHS tapes that people pass around.
I can still hear the Crypt Keeper. Like,
he's here. He's at the con. I'm like, oh my God. Or he's gonna be at he's gonna be at Midsummer Scream also, and I'm like, dude, please, like, can I just like, the voice is so iconic. I mean, I said Tales from the Crypt to my wife the other day, and she did the voice, and I mean, you know, you know, like
it's a side gig right there.
Yeah, I mean, Tales from the Crypt, and what's funny is I used to read the comics as a teenager, and just was like, this is really cool. What is this? And then I kind of realized that there's a show. And then we started to watch the show, and I mean, it was probably not appropriate for me at the time, you know, some of those episodes, but that was premium television. You look down, you break down the people that worked on that TV show, and it's all hits. It's like, you know, Silver, what do you call it? Robert Zemeckis, you know, Warren Hill, not Warren Hill, Hill, the Walter Hill, Walter Hill, Geiler, like it's all the really greats of the 80s and 90s. And then when it became a hit for HBO, you had all these celebrity directors, like Arnold Schwarzenegger directs an episode, because they're it's an amazing format. That's amazing. I've always waited. EC Comics just revamped that comic line. But you know, the talent on those shows, the writing on those shows is just unparalleled. It's amazing. I have them all on DVD. So I've always wanted to make something that's kind of that vibe. And that actually brings us, I don't know if I may jump into the,
please.
That's why when I saw the Halloween Club from, you know, Jerry, I don't know if I can hold him over here. Oh no, it's gonna knock him over. No. I always mess everything up when I do these things. But yeah, so thank you. Yeah. Oh my God, you did it. Yeah. You were like it was like a, you know, linchpin. But yeah, so when I saw Jerry's book, what had happened was he had posted a bunch of stuff on Instagram. And you know, I saw this account and I was like, you know, this is something here. And then I saw his cover. I was like, oh my God, this is very much with what I like. Yeah. But it also, you know, for the group that he was in, you know, he was in the Latin Exorcist, this horror writers group that I co-founded. And so when I saw his story and he had already had this comic book, I said, dude, why don't we just print out our copies and do our run of our version of this and try to get it to as many stores. On a very specific level, I can even tell you, you know, the people that are watching, all the stores that I sold Bloodstone in would carry this kind of comic book. So I literally could just go, hey, and, you know, I don't have issue 4, but you know, like you said, but I can give you this, and they would take it. So and sure enough, all the comic book stores that I've gone to with it are immediately like stoked. So it was really just a great fit, and it's a great read. It's, you know, it's a totally different story, different creator,
different art style,
different art style, everything, but still somehow like a good taste, you know, like if if you're watching Gremlins and you couldn't watch Gremlins, you know, you watched Ghoulies or something, right? You know, like, or you watch something else that was like, you know, or Tremors, you know, like, you know, like you're like, oh yeah, I could watch that too, you know, totally different. Yeah.
Which it feels like, Tremors is basically the same universe as Gremlins. It feels like in a way. You know?
It's all,
I want to see that mashup now.
Yeah.
I want to see I want to see both of them kick off at the same time.
Spike is riding a worm, you know. Yeah. It's just like, it's a. So that's where kind of some of my back to the original kind of point you were talking about comic books. I mean, that's where a lot of this kind of comes from is you know, finding things that you like and kind of wanting to champion them. And luckily, being a member of Latinxes, I've been able to like read a lot of different great storytellers. And if they have a comic book, speaking of which, y'all seen this, if y'all have a comic book already that you're making, you know, and it hasn't been able to get anywhere, you know, we want to start doing stuff like that if we can afford it, you know, if we can. We would love to start making more. And this guy, you know, Jerry's had a great success with Halloween Club, and you know, he's got issue 2 coming. So
that's cool.
It's kind of crazy that I wanted to be a comic book maker, and now I've made my comic, and now I get to publish somebody else's comic book.
Yeah.
That was the weirdest phone call I've ever been able to like do, but it was the most joy, because like now I'm actually publishing somebody else's work is the silliest, like we called the printer, and the printer's like, oh yeah, you've printed a lot of comic books. And I was like, I have? And I, you know, and it just kind of was like, yeah. And then we started working with the pub. By the way, Comics Wellspring, you know, y'all, you know, we're gonna be on your podcast too, so can't wait to see you guys. And you know, we want to do a partnership with them as well, hopefully. So we're, you know, reached out and talked about that a little bit. So hopefully we can get a publisher on board, like an actual printing press.
Yeah. Oh wow. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the goal, right? I mean,
these are independently produced, correct?
Yeah. We made them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's
like,
awesome.
And Comics Wellspring is a great indie publisher. They publish, you know, smaller print runs, and they give you great discounts, and they've been great to work with for me. So that's exactly kind of what I, you know, wanted to do. We can go print them in China. We can do all types of other stuff, but I'd rather work with these people, and they're way flexible. They answer all the calls. They fix everything. So just finding that way to make stuff, right? Yeah. Bringing it back to films. I'm probably boring everybody here.
Well, no, I want to bring it back to make stuff. Yeah, because I want to talk to you about, because we're kind of closing up on this segment. I want to talk to you about the idea of your journey with this comic book now into TV, and that idea of needing to kind of, it's not quite a pivot. It's more like a, I mean, I played a lot of Star Fox as a kid. It's more like a barrel roll through these different rings.
Oh my God, Star Fox barrel roll. Oh my, yes.
You know, like we're trying to hit the gates, and it's like, you can't just fly straight through the level. You know,
I'm doing the finger move.
Yeah.
Oh my,
do a barrel roll.
Yeah, so, I loved Star Fox.
So like, you know, I'm curious. Would you talk us through the experience you had being a writer and going, okay, I've got this idea. I want people to read my scripts. And then you encountered the film industry, and oh no, and the pivot that you did there.
Yeah, well, so a little backstory. Like, I'm an NYU film grad. I got in.
I lived in New York for like 14 years. So
okay,
I love the film school there.
I did not know that. Reveal. But yeah, I did. So I was working. I graduated NYU Film. Back when I graduated in the ancient times, I had a short film and I had a bus ticket, and that was congratulations.
Wow.
And you know, like nowadays, there's a lot more like integration, you know, from the film school into the industry. That's awesome, but we didn't have that when I was there. So I got a job as an editor, and I worked immediately because I had to pay my bills on television shows. So I would work on TV shows, but I'd never have a chance to pitch, because as an editor, that's actually kind of a weird thing to do when you're in the edit bay. You're supposed to work on somebody else's shows and television. You're supposed to be focused. So I had all these ideas, but I didn't really have a place to take them. And yet I was making things all the time. And so that taught me structure and all these things, you know, on how to tell stories. And I got all this experience. But I still had these stories I wanted to bring to people, and I had nobody I could bring them to. Yeah. So how do you solve the problem? Well, you can't hand a script to a producer. You really shouldn't. It's a legal thing, all this stuff, right? You literally cannot do it. But I could hand them a comic book.
Yeah.
And I loved comic books. And if I could hand them drawings or storyboards, which I did, believe me, I did that too. You know, so
how big were the storyboards you handed over?
Well, they were like
a one page, or like were you like handed over? Okay.
They were like printed on the company printer, probably. Okay. You know, like I would draw them on like an iPad, or like hand draw them. And then I would make a couple of sheets, and then I'd fold them, and I'd be like, hey, what do you think? And they'd be like, wow, this is pretty good. You should make a comic book. And so, you know, and that's kind of the genesis of the comic book. And then through that process, basically, so I applied to everything, you know, Sundance, I did the, you know, the NALEAP and the Soch, I did all the fellowships applications I could do. And really at that time, and this may not be true now, horror was not something that was necessarily approved, you know, championed. Yeah. You know, a lot of the scripts that got chosen for those programs were not horror scripts. And so I was like, okay, I gotta just make something. I gotta be able to show this. I don't wanna have a PDF script that's just gonna get emailed around and die.
Yeah.
But if I have a comic book, it conveys the idea so much easier, so much faster.
And it tags it to you directly.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's like, now this has your name on it and it's in the wild.
Yeah.
So like, yeah.
Yeah, and it's also like, you know, it's its own thing.
Yeah.
When you make a comic book, okay, you can sell the movie rights, but you also have the publishing rights. Like, yes. So you have twofer, right? You've got one thing and the other thing, and you already created it, and it's already copyrighted. Yeah. All of these things into once, and it's fun.
And it's already concept arted as well, because there's your storyboard.
And how do you explain? And some of my ideas, if I'm being really honest, are wild and out there and expensive.
Okay.
And so 99% of the people are, especially with big, huge, you know, projects like that, are not going to give you money for, you know, monster effects and all that stuff. So the best way to convince anybody to give you money to make something is to have as much detailed an explanation and as much detail of that story as you can in that pitch. So yeah, so it kind of, all of these things are in my head of why I want to make the comic book. I hired an artist through Kismet. I met this Mexican artist who's amazing. You know, oh my God, I almost called him Alfredo. Alfonso. He instantly understood stuff. He brought ideas to the table as a Mexican that I wouldn't think of. He's like, you know, different stuff. So little details I thought were great. And then it took a while, but we made the first issue. And immediately having that first issue, I walked into comic book stores. For some, you know, there's comic book distribution that you have to get through.
Yeah.
At that time,
it's another gatekeeper.
Another gatekeeper.
It's like,
but you know what? And I'm in some ways I'm thankful for this shakeup that's happening in this comic industry. Some of you may know or not, but like the main distributors have had this kind of chokehold on what gets in the comic shops, and that's changing. And I don't want to call them out because but that's changing a lot too. A lot of comic book shops are willing to. They love indie stuff.
Yeah.
They love it when you're the one that's making it, walking on the streets and handing it to them. You know, if you have a comic book that only you have and you bring it to them, I mean, now they have something that is not, you know, it's a rare item, you know? Yeah. Like, so I made the comic book and it was immediately like the most successful thing I've ever made.
That's cool.
I mean, and you know, I've made short films that I worked 2 years on, you know, I made, you know, they're great, but more people will see the comic book. I walk down the street, somebody sees the name and they go, what the heck is that? And they, you know, and then, you know, I've seen people holding the comic book at, Universal Studios.
Oh, that's got to be crazy.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was so cool. I've met writers that have been like, oh, I've read your work. And I'm like, you read my work. You know, like that. If you're an emerging filmmaker, emerging writer, you want people to read your work. Even if they don't like it, they've read it.
Yeah.
They read it, right? So they know one point of reference. Even if it's bad, they know that you might get better. You know, you know, like who would have thought the first movie may not be that great, but hey, man, the second one can be Get Out. Who knows? You know,
especially with folks who haven't made comic books because you've made something they haven't.
Yeah, sorry, right. I keep going on these tangents.
No, this is perfect. As we get towards the end, one thing I want to ask you is, can you tell us about the kind of the work and the community collective that is the Latin Exorcist? Yeah,
absolutely. So, in making, you know, as a new writer, as a Latino writer, as a horror writer, you know, it's hard to get people to read your stuff. It's hard to get people to read your stuff without representation. It's even harder if you don't know anybody, and it's even harder if that script turns out to be bloody, gory, or horror. I mean, I recently met an executive a very powerful executive that says that said horror was not their thing, and I said, oh, okay, interesting. But they farm it. Yeah. So I went to a mixer for La Lista, which was a great podcast. La Lista, Ruben Mendiva, you're the best. For Latino, it's a podcast that highlights Latino writers in the industry. And I went to a mixer there, and we all had to introduce ourselves. And whoever said they liked horror, I wrote down their names.
Yeah.
And one of them emailed me as I was emailing all of them and said, his name was Jose Chavez. Hey, shout out Jose. And he said, hey, I want to do a writers group for horror, a horror writers group. and I had been working on Bloodstone. So this is great. And we started having meetings, and it just kind of grew organically over our love for horror, really.
That's
and
awesome.
we're free, 100%. Latinx is 100% free to join, 100% free to submit, and 100% free to read. So the whole thing is the idea that when you have a script, you need to get it read. Getting it read helps make it better. It makes you a better writer as well. And if you're a new filmmaker, you may not have that much money to submit to the blacklist, frankly, and no diss to the blacklist. And so we actually, as in the Latinx, are able to find writers that are, Latino or Latin identifying that maybe wouldn't have submitted to a lot of the script writing services out there. Maybe they're not a part of, We Screenplay or whatever, because this is their first script. But that doesn't mean that it's bad. And we've had some really great. So in the last 2 years, Latinx, just to give you some metrics, we've read 59 scripts by 57 writers.
Awesome.
Workshop them.
Two repeats. I love that.
Yeah, well, exactly. And the reason why that number is different is because some filmmakers come back with more scripts.
Yeah.
And we meet over Zoom for free, and we just for 2 hours or an hour, we dive into these scripts and try to make them better and say what's working and what's not. And we give that writer's room experience to writers that never maybe would have had it, or would have never paid to get reviews. And one of the benefits of our list, we have over 150 people on our script review list or email list, is that if you submit a script to Latinx, especially if you're watching this right now, please, we're always looking for new scripts. If you submit a script to us, 45 people can read it and give you their feedback.
That's awesome. That's so good.
And so if you've ever done the blacklist, you can tell it's like $80 for one reading. We don't charge that. And then also, the only requirements are that they're horror or genre, and that you are a Latino screenwriter to submit. And I think because of that space, we've been able to attract really great people. We've had writers in our group that have gone on to win, be on the blacklist, like Marcos Soriano. Shout out Marcos. We have Montserrat, who's been great at feedback recently, and she's been staffed a couple shows. Maggie Torres Rodriguez just won some contest as well, and she's actually been staffed on Dora the Explorer. And we have Jose Nateras, who's hopefully we'll see at a party later on. He sold a feature. I mean, I could just keep going, but we've luckily been able to attract really cool people to the group that are doing really rad stuff, and it's just started. We've only been around 2 years.
Oh my God.
That's my spiel. Yeah. Sorry, that was a long talk. Sorry,
no, it's great. How do people want to join it? Where should they go?
Latinx. You can DM us on Instagram at Latinxicist, like if you're watching on the live right now, or you can always send us an email at latinxorcists@gmail.com. Go to the website latinxorcists.com. And hey, this is a little sticker if you want to see what they look like. I don't know if you can see it from here, but there you have. Yeah, you can see
it'll be tiny.
You got a thumbs. Yeah,
you got it. Yeah.
But Latinx or cis.
Yeah.
And we all, we've been kind of punching in over our weight as far as the attention that we've been getting. Everybody wants a good horror script. Everybody wants a good sci-fi movie. Everybody wants a good popcorn-eating movie.
Yeah.
Dramas, coming of ages, sure, but it's got to be the Goonies if it's that, right?
Yeah.
It's got to be something that's like a real high concept. And people want to make cool stuff. So we've been lucky, man. Yeah, I don't know.
Cool.
Yeah. I'm stoked to be here too. Also, we've gotten sponsors. Thank you, Blackmagic Design. I'm Hollyland. There's another Ceremonic USA. We're now going to start making stuff. We've already kind of started. We don't just want to write PDFs that get emailed around.
Yeah.
Hence the comic book.
Yeah.
Hence shorts that we're working on. So we're trying to just get out there and do stuff, man. Yeah.
You're building like a production company now.
Well,
it's
a
production collective.
It's a production.
It's cooperative. Production cooperative.
Yeah. My dream, is to be, something like that. Yeah. I think that we're so many artists. I use this analogy. Do I have time for a little digression?
Oh, yeah.
So I use this analogy for when I talk about our group, like the graffiti crew, okay?
Yeah.
So I don't know, this is a rando comparison, but when I was young, I used to like graffiti writers. I used to like graffiti, right? So how do you keep a graffiti writers together in a group? They're all individual artists.
Yeah.
They all have different goals and different styles. They're artists too. They're interesting people, right? Like how do they make a group or a collective? Well, they all have to get something out of it. Yeah. And they have to understand that the group is stronger together. Yeah. Like that being together gives them something. They're worth more together than separate. And that's kind of what the Latinx is, I hope, is for everybody that's in it, is that, by yourself, you're a writer, that's great. You are your own person, you have your own goals, but when you come with us, you get something out of that, you learn something, you pick something, you get ideas, we all there, that we're stronger together, and that's awesome. That's a soundbite?
Yeah, there's a soundbite. So like one last brief thing before we go.
No, yeah, it's all
is
good.
there any ritual that you have when you come to Comic-Con? Is there any place you go, any food you eat, any any booth that you need to stop by? What kind of anchors you in the space whenever you arrive at Comic-Con?
What anchors me in the space? Wow. So I'm trying to think of. I always get ice cream at some point in the day. You have to have ice cream.
This is hot.
It is very hot. It's very hot. I always check out the Artist Alley. Yeah. I have to check out the Artist Alley. I do that generally first. I do go to a couple panels, but I have to check the Artist Alley just because there's always people there. That's kind of the goal for me, is to see the things I can't see other places. Yeah. I always go to there was a while when I would go to the Hasbro booth all the time just because I thought it was cool to like see all the toys. I love the Bandai booth. I always go to the Bandai booth. I'm trying to think of anything else that I have to do. I think I ride the train once, or at least once every trip.
That's cool.
I know this sounds silly, but it's highly air conditioned on that train, and it's way better to dodge the traffic to take the train.
It's really convenient too because it stops you like right outside the convention hall.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to wait like 45 minutes for it to leave.
Like
this. Yeah. The crossing guards are trying to stop people, and people just walk. Like it's just humans.
Oh, I've seen so many near misses on that thing. Like Rick and Morty almost getting hit. But I think that So man, it's hard to like kind of pin down one thing that I do all the time. But I definitely do all that. I definitely have gotten better at like saying hi, I love your work to the people when I recognize them. I make a list. That is one thing I do. I kind of make a list mentally and then physically of the writers that I'm hoping, or writers or comic artists that I'm hoping to see, because they're there. Yeah. They're definitely there, and they're walking around, and with the idea that like I'm gonna say something to them. Maybe it's just a thank you. I loved that. Maybe it's just like, this is really rad what you're doing. Maybe it's, hey, I have something I'd love to give you too, but you can't always do that. But yeah, like I have this idea of like, just to at least thank them for the work that they're doing. And that's just fun for me. And if I got a chance to have them sign something, maybe, that's cool too. I try not to bother everybody. Good rule of thumb with Comic-Con is if you see somebody in a hurry, do not stop them. They're probably on the way to another panel. But yeah, you'd be surprised how many are really cool and nice, as long as you're nice and polite. Oh, rule, actually, one thing definitely do every Comic-Con is I bring deodorant.
Yes.
You bring deodorant.
Please.
Ladies and gentlemen, the world would be better if you brought deodorant to the Comic-Con, please.
Why do they not sell it on the floor? Like,
my God.
This is a booth.
Ocean, oh my God, Old Spice. Old Spice, where is your booth at the Comic-Con?
Free deodorant.
Do you understand how much money you would make? Or, if it was $1, you would sell 4 million. So that, and then I always bring deodorant. I always bring an extra t-shirt because of the aforementioned issue. I always bring a t-shirt and deodorant and lately gum. These are all around the theme, guys. Please, like we all need this, okay? I mean, it just helps. And water.
Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you very much.
Oh yeah, I talked
for a pleasure.
Thank you. Yeah, I talked for a while.
Before we leave, is there anything you want to shout out you're working on that people should follow you on?
Yeah. If you can follow me on Ricardude on Instagram at Ricardude, so RICARDUDE. The Bloodstone. Please follow the Bloodstone Saga on Instagram. Yeah. Issue 4 coming soon. And also the Halloween Club. Join the Halloween Club on Instagram. We will be in stores soon. You can also DM us and start. We're going to start selling these very soon. We have a limited edition availability of these. There's only right now a little bit less than 50 left.
Oh, okay.
We've already almost sold out, but we will have more, and we're going to make variants.
That's amazing.
Yeah, no, I mean
you're going to sell out. It's good.
I'm really stoked for all the writers, and this is really great. And then that's it. Latin Exorcist, Halloween Club, Bloodstone, Ricardo.
Awesome. Well, Ricardo, thank you.
Hey,
appreciate it.
Yeah. No, for sure. This has been great. Yeah,
absolutely. Very much.
Yeah.
And thank you everyone for joining us here at Comic Convos. I'm Timothy Reese with Brooklyn Quarter. I want to give another shout out to Blackmagic Design, who presented Comic Convos, and our partners, Cinematography for Actors, for helping us put this on. We're going to be back in a few minutes with our next guest, and we will see you then.
Hello, and welcome back to Convos, presented by Blackmagic Design. If you are just tuning in, I'm one of your hosts. I'm Danielle Beckman. I'm not the other one, Timothy Reese, but I am with Brooklyn Quarter, and we are so excited to be partnering with the League of Filmmakers and Cinematography for Actors to bring you this live stream directly from the Gaslamp District in downtown San Diego. So joining me today is a very special human, Sujata Day. Sujata is known for her starring role as Cece in Issa Rae's The Misadventures of an Awkward Black Girl?
The Misadventures of Awkward Black Girl.
Yeah. You know,
But we just call it Awkward Black Girl.
Okay, cool.
For short, yeah.
Okay, great. So we're gonna say Awkward Black Girl. Also reoccurred for 4 seasons on HBO's Insecure.
Yes.
One of my top 10 favorite TV shows of all time.
Which is now on Netflix as well.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is it. We're gonna have some Netflix family conversations because you're on Netflix.
Okay.
Which is awesome. Also, Sujata, speaking of Netflix, Sujata wrote, directed, produced, and stars in her award-winning debut feature film, Definition Please, currently streaming on Netflix. So welcome to Convos, Sujata.
Thanks, I'm excited to be here.
Yay, I'm so excited. Okay, so real quick, first up, like how is the con going this year? What's any exciting things, any like surprising, fun things that you want to share, just as like a fun tidbit to start?
I mean, it's been really fun. I'm gonna be honest with you. And when you first asked me to do this conversation, I was like, yes, but I need to be completely truthful and let you know that I don't know anything about comic books. And so, you cleared up that misunderstanding. But I'm just here with a group of friends that I hang out with all the time. We have a Sunday brunch group that we've been doing every week for 7 years.
Oh my gosh!
And they all love comic books and Marvel and DC.
Oh, great!
And so I just came to hang out with them. Actually.
Okay, so I want to know the secret of keeping a long-running 7-year brunch group. Like, who is there like a automatic Google Calendar that goes in, or like how do you keep that unity? That is so awesome.
I mean, there's like a group of 8 or 10 people that consistently come every week.
Yeah.
I feel like there's probably a total of 40 people in the group.
Gosh. Got it.
And so there's always people coming in and out. Not everybody goes every week. I tend to go every week.
Awesome.
I love it. It's at the same location.
Okay, I was gonna ask.
Yes, it's at the same location. Really cool people. It's a group of writers, producers, a couple executives, directors. And we just go, and it's not even really talking about work. It's just talking about, we're all friends, and we all love each other, and that's why we're all at con together.
That's awesome.
And so it's just been fun hanging out with them and just going to like dinners and.
Isn't it nice? I feel like as filmmakers, and we're gonna talk about like the multi-hyphenate Sujata Day, absolutely. But like sometimes Timothy and I talk about how we don't have hobbies, like we forget. Or you forget to just sometimes be a human. Like you don't always have to be networking. It's okay, you can hang out. So I love this so much. And it takes place in LA?
It takes place in LA.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
Definitely have a hobby.
Oh, okay, I'm ready. Let's hear it.
I have danced for a long time since I was younger. So I did Indian classical dancing.
Amazing.
For 10 years when I was growing up. It's called Bharatanatyam. And we would take it at the temple every week.
Okay.
And so I'm gonna be honest, I didn't really love that kind of dancing. But it really prepared me for other types of dancing because it's very much the ballet of India, I would say.
Okay, cool.
So then as I was older, I mean, you want to take ballet as a young kid, but when I was older, I started taking beginner ballet lessons. And then I got into jazz. And then I started doing hip hop. And then I tried tap, but I was terrible at tap.
Okay.
I have like heavy ankles or something.
You have to have like fascinating.
You have to really.
You gotta have limber ankles.
You gotta have limber ankles and like not like feet.
I get it. No, I mean I'm a dancer as well. And tap, you gotta flat ball change.
And I was not good at tap. But the other ones I kind of picked up really well. And so now I take for the past 2 years, I've been taking consistently a hip hop class once a week and a Broadway lyrical class. And I had to buy jazz dance shoes for the Broadway class because we do a bunch of turns and like a chaîné into a pirouette, into a Russian leap. And I'm like, this is amazing. And I'm not like by any means a professional dancer, but I love it. And I love that you're working out without feeling like it's a workout.
Yeah. Well, that's why it's a hobby. It's like actually,
it's my favorite thing to do. It makes me so happy. Like the endorphins I get when I come out of class and I'm drenched, and I'm like, oh, I like memorized a routine.
You know, I memorized this choreography. It lived in my body. That is so cool.
Yeah, it's really fun.
I'm not trying to like plug myself, but I am an award-winning ballerina from when I was in I did a lot of ballets when I was younger, but when I was 6 years old, and fun fact, oh my God, we're going back to my roots for a second.
I love it.
I'm from San Diego. And fun fact, my name is engraved on a trophy at the Lyceum Theater right here in the Gaslamp District.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
You're a local celebrity.
I am a local celeb. Okay,
wow.
everyone.
Wow, I should be interviewing you.
Okay, well, I mean, here, let's go. Let's only talk about dance, though.
So I will say that in terms of ballet, my turnout is very poor.
But look, it's like what you said.
My turnout is a right angle,
which is not.
This is my turnout, everybody. I don't know if you can see it. But you want to be like this.
Yeah, you
right?
do. You do. Yeah. Well, see, my celebridom was I won this award when I was 6 years old. Yeah. I know. It was a time. And it just all came back to me that it was here. So I love that we're like kicking this off with dance. This makes me so excited.
I can't. I also don't stop talking about it.
Okay, great. Well, let's just let's pepper it in throughout. Let's pepper it in throughout. Okay, cool. So I do want to hop on and talk about your feature film.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay, so definition, please. You wrote, directed, starred, produced.
Yes, and then I'm going to add a couple
Please
other
add, yes, because the multi-hyphenate is real.
I was the publicist.
Uh-huh.
I was like film festival coordinator.
Yep.
I was, what else did I do? I cast the movie. Mm-hmm. We didn't have a casting director. And yeah, there are probably other little jobs in there that I did.
Of course.
Yeah.
Because it's your baby. And like one of my dear friends she wrote a short of mine that is now we're making into a feature. She always says, if it was easy, everyone would do it. And
it's not easy,
right? But you did it, and that's what's so amazing. Yeah. And I got to watch it last week, and everyone should go onto Netflix and watch this beautiful, heartfelt family film. And yeah, I don't want to like give away why it's called Definition, please, but if you want to talk about it, you can. But I really wanted to ask. I mean, obviously, we kind of started to touch on it, but I want to ask how taking that from the script to the screen was for you, because you wrote it, you shot it, and then it was in post and you edited it. Were those kind of three different versions, or how was the journey?
You know what, when I was really good at like doing the job and then taking that hat off when the job was done.
Cool.
So as a writer, I wrote the script, went through a ton of revisions as we all do. And then I finally had a shooting script. And I said, okay, it's done. Like, this is the shooting script. So I put it away and I didn't make any changes.
Yeah.
Like throughout shooting our post to the script. So I could actually take my screenwriter hat off and then focus on, at that point, it was like producing and directing. Mm-hmm. So as soon as I, got the script done, when we were on set, no one really improvised very much.
Oh, interesting.
So everyone kind of stuck to the script and did what was on the page. We did have a 10-day shoot. So
cut to my face of crazy, I don't know if this was on camera, but what, 10 days? Okay, cut back.
We did
that is fantastic.
We had a 10-day shoot. I knew that everyone on board, the cast, the crew, me, we all knew that we had this very small amount of time to shoot a feature film. So as we were shooting, we couldn't improvise. So I would have loved to have gone back and have like 20 days, like a normal feature film. And have some time to play with the scenes and stuff and to find more moments. But we could only shoot, I think, like 2 or 3 takes max. But my actors were all very on point, very ready, very emotionally available. And so we almost would always get it on like first or second take.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I really love that. Do you have any advice for anyone tuning in, because we're having people on obviously the Brooklyn Quarter channel, but also Cinematography for Actors, League of Filmmakers. There, you know, then this is going to go out to different channels. And so, do you have advice for someone embarking on their first feature film journey?
Yeah, I would say definitely get your practice in and do shorts first.
Right.
I did music videos. I did multiple music videos and shorts before I did my feature film.
Awesome.
Or one short. So I did multiple music videos, one short before I embarked on my feature film. And the short was very much, for me personally, a practice to see if I could undertake a
And what did you
film.
do on that short? Did all the things?
Yes, I did all the things. So I wrote, directed, produced, and starred in the short. It's called Cowboy and Indian. It's on Vimeo. Anybody can access it.
Awesome.
And when I did that, it was very smooth. It was a one-day shoot. Everything worked out. I really was very happy with the way it turned out. And I was like, and probably maybe you shouldn't say this to yourself after your first short, but I was like, I'm ready. I'm ready to do a feature. Because people were asking me about my second or third shorts or what I was going to do next. And I was like, I'm doing a feature. So that's what I did. And to be fair, the whole feature process also went very smoothly until trying to find distribution. And that was the hardest part.
Okay, so yes, I would love to know about that. And were you trying to get it distributed, and also did the pandemic mess that up in any way? Because what was the timing of that?
Yes, the pandemic did mess it up. We definitely didn't do any pre-distribution or pre-buys or anything. That would have been helpful.
Would have been really great, guys. Okay.
I think I did look into product placement, because there's a cola featured in. There's a bunch of like Indian snacks and foods featured in the movie. Cool. And Lay's Chips has a really yummy Indian flavor called Lay's Masala, Magic Masala. And so I was like, let's hit up Lay's. Let's see if, they're going to be in a lot of scenes. We could just have open bags and people eating them all the time.
It changes to like the lead character has like a Lay's addiction.
Yeah.
Like
we have the mom's eating Lay's. We're all eating Lay's. And then there's a really intense cola in India called Thumbs Up that has, I think, a ton more caffeine than even like Coke or Pepsi. And it's really good. I love it. And so Thumbs Up is also significant in the movie. And Thumbs Up is owned by one of the big ones, like owned by Pepsi or Coca-Cola. I forget which one. And we reached out to them as well, but we didn't get any responses. We're like, maybe they could just pay for the whole movie, right? But that didn't happen.
I was I got an email about a brand placement thing last week for a feature that I'm working on, and we're like, oh yes, that cheap vodka, we will put you in everywhere. You will be in the dressing room of this character, you will be wherever, and I think that's really cool. So then,
but then you asked
back
about
to distribution.
Pandemic.
Yes,
well.
pandemic.
So the pandemic super affected our movie, because we shot it in the summer of 2019.
Oh.
And then we went into post pretty much right away, and then we finished it early 2020.
Wow.
So that's when the pandemic struck. And so we had set up, premieres at a couple at one film festival. And then we were getting into other film festivals as well. And so we had like a whole film festival run going, and then the pandemic happened. But I feel like I was like bummed for a second, but I took it in stride, and we just totally adapted to what the environment was at the moment, and all the festivals were working really hard to make their festivals virtual. And I was like, let's go. Let's do it. You know, I didn't want to wait on releasing the film. I was just like, let's just do it.
No.
And so we did, and we premiered virtually at Bentonville Film Festival.
Oh, fantastic.
Which I'm sure you've heard of.
Yes,
which
absolutely.
is like amazing. Got my bra strap coming down.
Oh, hey, I mean, speaking of Bentonville, it's all about women.
Oh, it's all about women.
And women wear bras. Welcome to Convos.
Yeah.
No, but this is I think such a testament to staying true to yourself. And Bentonville, Gina Davis's film festival premiered Definition Please, and even during the pandemic. So yeah.
I will also say I already had a relationship with Bentonville. So they had played my short a few years ago. And when you take shorts to film festivals, they generally love knowing about when your feature is going to come out or when your second or third short's coming out. So I already had kind of the personal emails to the people, and I was like, hey, I just made a feature. Would you guys want to play it? And then it played on closing night virtually. And it was really great. And right then is when we got our very positive Hollywood Reporter review. And that was huge.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to get a review from a Deadline or Variety or a Hollywood Reporter. And so we were, over the moon to get that review. And then we just kept doing virtual film festivals from there and kept getting reviewed. And I believe we're 95% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay.
Which is
amazing.
Yeah, which is very cool. And we just continue to do that. I think the one festival that I was really bummed with feature films, they generally fly you to the festival and like put you up and treat you really well. And they have dinners for you and parties.
Yes.
And so we missed all of that, and we got into Hawaii International Film Festival, and that was also virtual. So I did it from my bedroom in LA.
Man.
And at that point, I had never been to Hawaii, and so I was really bummed.
You know what? It's honestly, there's something about 2020 and COVID, and it's a lot of like karma points we're storing up for like huge Hawaii festivals in person in your future.
Yes.
It's true. Okay, I don't have that much time left, but I wanted to ask a little bit about genre for you, because I feel like you've swung from Awkward Black Girl and Insecure to Definition Please, which leans more dramatic, more serious, and I mean, Insecure, like your character is so funny, and it's just such a beautiful ensemble banter in that office, and oh my goodness. So what genre do you love to play in? What do you find that you love to play in more as an actor versus a writer?
So I love comedy. And so that's my kind of number one genre that I love. And I ended up writing 4 features during the strike.
Okay.
So
wait, hold on. 4 features.
All right.
Once again, cut to me going, what? Huh? I just saw the camera switch. Because I'm going, okay, let's just for the record note, 4 features were written by Sujata during the strike, and her feature film was filmed in 10 days. So let this be a lesson to filmmakers that we can get it done. Okay, back to you.
I'm also very competitive with myself, and during the pandemic, which was obviously a longer time than the strike.
Of course.
I had written a feature and a pilot. And so I was like, okay, during the strike, I need to beat my, what I, personally produced on the page.
Beat your own record.
I had to beat my own record. And then all of a sudden I wrote 4 features, and I was like, okay, great. But I don't even know what the question was.
Well, no, the question was genre.
Yes. That's why I mentioned
is
the
there
4
a difference
features
between a writer and an actor?
Yes, As an actor, I will almost do anything.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
I get excited by a lot of different stuff.
Yeah.
As a writer, I generally stick to comedy.
Okay.
And so I brought up the 4 features because they're all different genres of comedy.
Ooh.
So like one's a workplace rom-com, one's a horror comedy, one's an action comedy, and one's like an absurdist comedy.
Oh, amazing.
So yeah, so that's why I love comedy, but as a writer, but as an actor, I'll do pretty much anything.
Okay, cool. I hear that. Well, and then with definition, please, though. I mean, what would you say that genre is?
I think it's a dramedy.
It is? Okay, it is a dramedy. No, you're right. It's actually, I mean, there's some very funny moments.
Yeah, it is
absolutely.
one of the more serious things I've ever
Okay,
written.
see, that's why I was curious.
Yeah. So, but I prefer, especially with creating television shows, because you really have to, if a show goes, you have to live with a show for a very long time, for years and years. Yes. If it's a very successful show, which we all hope for.
Yes.
And I think I would prefer, as a writer, to live in a comedic space.
Gotcha.
For multiple years.
I got you. I mean, comedy's my jam. I love it. I'm vibing with all of that. Okay, so where can we follow your work? We do have a lower third with your information on it, so that's going to be cool and fancy.
I don't know where that is.
But,
Maybe it's there.
Maybe it's there. It'll be. Is it there?
Yeah.
Oh, look, magic! Obsessed. But so, of course, there's the Instagrams and whatnot. But is there anything new or anything people should stay? Anything exciting coming up you want to share or have people follow?
Yeah, I do have an exciting thing coming up. I don't know if you guys know Mark Bernardin and Tiffany Smith, but they're really great. Mark's an amazing writer, director. Tiffany Smith's amazing actress. We are working on a feature film anthology with multiple writer-directors doing different segments of it. And I'm doing a segment and also starring in mine. And it's a sci-fi. Mine specifically is a sci-fi comedy.
With Mark, that makes sense. Sci-fi.
Yeah. But mine's got a comedic bent to it as well. But I'm really excited to play that role because I think what's fun about being an actor is you get to write the roles that you always dream of playing.
Yes, absolutely. And I got to see Mark's short film here at Comic-Con last year.
Splinter.
Yes.
So Tiffany Smith's character in Splinter, if you follow Mark and Splinter, is the running character in all of the shorts.
Okay, this is really cool.
Make up the feature film. Or the segments.
This is awesome. Rachel Walker, our mutual friend,
yes,
is the producer.
She's
so that makes sense.
Yeah.
Hey, Rachel, what's up?
They said I could talk about it.
Oh, it's happening. That is so exciting. And like,
also, this is breaking news.
Okay. Did you, Deadline, pick us up.
Deadline, this is breaking
Hollywood
news.
Reporter. I love that like the volume just keeps going up because I'm like excited.
Yeah.
This is so cool.
So we're very excited about that.
Yay. Oh my gosh.
Oh, and a lot of people, bringing it back to the brunch that we were talking about every Sunday, a lot of the writer-directors are from, in Mark's feature, are from that group of friends.
And like such an amazing community.
Yes.
Well, that's awesome. Okay, well, Sujata, thank you for dancing in here with us today. This was so lovely to have
This was so fun.
Yes, thank you so, so much. And for those of you watching back home, thank you so much for tuning in to Convos presented by Blackmagic Design. Speaking of Blackmagic Design, all of our beautiful equipment, our switchers, our cameras are all provided by Blackmagic Design. They have, hello, just look at the picture quality. Mwah, stunning. Thank you so much to them. Big shout out to the League of Filmmakers. The League of Filmmakers is having a super fun party tonight in the Gaslamp District. Your entry is a wristband, which is very, on point, very chic. And you can look for us around the con. We'll be giving those out. You can join us at the Coin-Op game room for that. And also want to shout out Cinematography for Actors, our dear friends Indiana and Haley there. And I already said Blackmagic. Anyone else, Producer Timothy?
That anyone can join the league.
Oh my gosh. more breaking news. No, I'm just kidding. No, we just wanted to say that really anyone can join the League of Filmmakers. We are a community about uplifting people and filmmakers, at all points of their journeys. And we're so excited that this will be the start of like so many more interviews and so many more fun things to come. And we're just so grateful that you joined us at Comic-Con. So everybody have a safe, fun con, and hopefully we'll see you next time on Convos. I'm Danielle Beckman. Bye.